Hey,
There's nothing
when's the
else.
server training? Today?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, because something like that, I don't know if you saw on like Facebook.
Yep.
So I was so confused. Thank you, postcard.
Hi, Lauren. Let's see. Let me get everything situated and we will get started. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. It's 3:01. So today what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about safe disposal, how to keep your family safe if you have any alcohol or other substances, prescription, over-the-counter medications in your house, and how to keep your family members or your children from using that. And then we're also going to talk about a couple ways to use safe disposal techniques at home if there's anything that you want to get rid of. So again, I'm Samantha Zoika. I'm the Youth Program Coordinator and Training Specialist for Partnership Carson City. So with the stay-at-home orders beginning in March, alcohol and marijuana sales have been soaring through the roof. Alcohol sales rose 55% across the U.S. the last week of March. So that accounted for all alcohol. And then specifically hard liquor sales rose 72% across the US, followed by beer, which was the other alcohol that was being purchased a lot at 42%. Statistics of alcohol sales show a pattern that more US citizens tend to consume alcohol more often, followed by a catastrophic event such as 9/11 or Hurricane Katrina. So a couple of the things that they were seeing is that these catastrophic events that were happening in the US afterwards and during these events happening, that substance use was skyrocketing through the roof, specifically alcohol. But since 9/11 and since Hurricane Katrina, we've had a lot more of recreational marijuana and then the prescription opioid epidemic as well. So substance misuse during a pandemic. Substance misuse is the means of abusing or not using substances as directed. And that can go for any sort of substance, whether it's an illegal drug, illicit drug, over-the-counter prescription medications, alcohol. So when we're talking about substance misuse for alcohol specifically, this would mean drinking excessively during one setting or drinking consistently over time. So something that might look like would be drinking an entire bottle of wine rather than just having a glass of wine. Drinking multiple shots in one night versus just having one cocktail. Drinking every day or drinking every day excessively or consistently. That's what substance misuse would look like for alcohol. For other substances like opioids prescribed from a doctor, misuse could look like taking too many or not as directed. So if on your prescription it says take one prescription pain pill every 6 hours, and now you're taking 2 every 4 hours, that would be an example of misuse if we're looking at prescription pain pills. So here's the cost of abuse. So according to NIDA, which stands for the National Institute on Drug Abuse, treatment for substance abuse issues costs the economy roughly $232 billion a year. And when we talk about that, we're talking about that in just any normal given year, not specifically catastrophic events or pandemics. That's just on a normal average year. Mental health issues such as anxiety and depression have also been self-reported to be on the rise during the lockdown. And many health outlets have been saying that the next new wave after COVID-19 will be mental health issues. So I think it's safe to say that it's no surprise that all of these mental health issues are coming a rise during the pandemic. There's a lot of unknowns. People are anxious. They're not able to leave their house. Maybe they're not able to do the things that help them cope with stress, like go to the gym or go to work or go to the movies, just those simple little things that we all take for granted. Now, since those have all been taken away from us, a lot of mental health issues have been on the rise. And also, a lot of things that we've also been seeing is instead of going to see counselors in person, now we have telehealth. So people can actually FaceTime their counselors or their therapists and still have those regularly scheduled appointments. But also we've been seeing that people have been lapsing on that as well. So while that's also another way that they can get help for mental health issues, that's also another reason for them to stop going to therapy. So right now we're going to talk about safe disposal, how to keep these substances out of your kids' hands during a lockdown. So talking about alcohol and COVID-19, with alcohol sales on the rise in the US, drinking patterns are also on the rise. So happy hour, that typically the acceptable hours in the afternoon to be able to drink, that 5-6 o'clock dinner hour, is slowly adapting to be earlier and earlier with the restrictions on not being able to leave the house. So this can mean that if nobody has any obligations, they can start drinking at 1 o'clock, at 10 o'clock in the morning. There's really, there's no restrictions on it. With bars and restaurants being closed, but liquor stores remaining open, this can cause an increase in drinking patterns at home and influence drinking times. So again, a lot of people are on unemployment, a lot of people are homeschooling their children, a lot of people are working from home. Everyone's doing different things, but the fact that we still have this access to alcohol, even though bars or restaurants are closed. Nevada thrives on the liquor sales, and that's how the economy makes money in Nevada. And so now we're seeing that instead of people that are, getting off work and they'll go home and have a glass of wine with their dinner, now it's acceptable to have a drink in the early afternoons. Maybe people are pouring too much alcohol. If they were to go to a nice dinner, they would get the acceptable pour in their glass, but now people, they're making their own cocktails. So what does this have to do with our youth though? So youth learn by modeled behavior of adult and parents. We know this. By modeling the fact that it's okay to grab a beer for breakfast or lunch, this can influence the perceptions youth have regarding alcohol. So now it's suddenly more acceptable if their parents are doing it, or their older siblings are doing it. If you have young adults who are in the house that are over 21 and you're allowing those individuals to drink in front of younger children, then the perception of harm goes way down. With many adults stocking up on alcohol and being home constantly, this means youth have more access to alcohol than they would before. So what can you do about either safely disposing of your alcohol or even just keeping it out of reach? So you can talk to your child about alcohol usage. So the earlier you talk to them, the more often you talk to them about the risks associated with alcohol use, the better. Display appropriate drinking patterns. So we're all feeling stressed during this time. It's inevitable. There's a lot of unknowns. Day by day, it's just a new struggle. So everyone is feeling stressed during this time. It's legal for anyone over 21 to consume alcohol. We just ask that you don't consume excessive amounts or misuse it. Lock up your alcohol and keep it all in one place. This will ensure that you know where all your alcohol is kept and reduce access to your child. So I know a lot of times people have wine cellars, they'll have wine racks, they'll have liquor cabinets, they'll keep their beer in a different cabinet. So if you keep all of your alcohol in one spot, at least you know where everything is at all times. You won't lose track of it. You know, you may lock your liquor cabinet, but then you forget that the beer is in the cabinet being waiting to be put in the refrigerator, and that now your child can get into the beer cabinet because it's not locked, and vice versa. So purchase a lock that only you have a key to. The pattern locks, or the ones with the codes on them, can get tricky if anyone finds out the code to it. And I'll be the first to say that youth are smart. So even if you make sure that you're writing down that code in either your phone or maybe a notebook or anything like that, if they get access to it, then they have access to the lock. So suggest if you get a key padlock, then only you have the key to it. Keep it in a safe place that they can't find it, or always keep it on you. Check daily to make sure that nobody other than the person who has the key has access to your locked liquor cabinet. So that's also important too. If you're not using alcohol every day and you have your alcohol locked away, that's great. But then also, what if they had gotten into it and then you weren't checking it every day? You don't know if they got into it or not. So just check on it frequently, even if it is locked up. Just a best practice. Try a cabinet that is more discreet and harder to access for your youth. So that would be another good way as well. I wouldn't keep it locked away with things that they might need. So like cups, bowls, plates, anything like that. I would have one solid cabinet that is more discreet. That's the only thing that's in the cabinet, so they have no reason to get into it at all. So talking about marijuana and COVID-19, with marijuana being legal in Nevada, just like alcohol, many households have been stocking up during this time. There was a lot of talk back in March, if the dispensaries would even stay open, what that would look like going into a statewide lockdown. And so the dispensaries were just being ransacked at the time, and there was just chaos with people stocking up just like they did with alcohol, because they weren't sure how the liquor stores were going to stay in business. While the dispensaries were only closed for a little bit of time, many still offered delivery services and even curbside pickup beginning May 1st. So I don't know if you've been looking around the billboards in Carson City, but a couple of the dispensaries have been saying that they've been delivering to outside counties. So for example, Douglas County extends all the way out to Topaz Lake. They cover all of the Douglas County area, Genoa, and a couple of the dispensaries have been offering delivery all the way out through Douglas County. I don't know specific laws on that, but they have been covering all their bases so that way they can deliver to all of their clients. The dispensaries in Nevada saw a large increase in sales and traffic prior to the initial lockdown in March. The marijuana use with youth in the home. Much like alcohol and most recently tobacco, marijuana is only legal to use if someone is 21 or older. If you or someone in your home uses marijuana recreationally or medicinally, try not to use in sight of minors in the house. So we would recommend maybe you go outside to use it. Maybe you're not using it right in front of them, so that way they don't have that perception that it's okay to use. Same with any young adult in your household that would be under 21. So if you have a college student who's 19 or 20, the law is still 21, just like alcohol and just like tobacco. Much like alcohol, perception of risk associated with marijuana or alcohol increases with parental acceptance of use. So again, what can you do? You can lock it up, just like your alcohol. So while dispensaries supply child-proof packaging, if you have older teenagers or young adults in your household, they'll be able to access it. They're not that child-proof as they say they are. And I know they put them in bags, and then they have up to even get into the product itself, it's child-proof. But again, we know that youth are smart and they can access it very easily. So again, you just want to make sure you're locking it up to keep it out of sight of them. Find a place to store your products which is out of the reach of your youth. Make sure it has a lock on it, and make sure any products that need to be refrigerated are also not able to be accessed. So how can you create some barriers to access if you do have marijuana in the house? So if you are expecting a delivery, make sure you're home and make sure that you are the one answering the door, that it is nobody else. Most dispensary delivery services will usually require a valid ID stating that they're 21 and that they are the person who placed the order, and they have to be the one to accept the delivery. However, it's not guaranteed. I can't speak for each dispensary. I can't speak for each delivery person. So just make sure if you are placing an order that it is you and you are not having your child answer the door. Purchase a lockbox that you can put in your fridge if there's products that need to stay cold. That's another way that you can avoid your children getting into these substances. This will ensure that you can safely store them, but again, only you have access to the keys. And if you're wondering where you can get lock boxes for anything, whether it's alcohol, whether it's marijuana or prescription pills, you can purchase them on Amazon. They have tons of different ones. They have bags, they have actual safes, they have small, medium, large. So even if you don't have marijuana in the house, even if you don't have alcohol in the house, I think we can all agree at some time or other we have NyQuil or we have Robitussin or we have Benadryl. The silly little medicines that are over the counter that are easily being able to purchase, those ones are still at high risk for abuse, especially with youth. If there's anything in the house that they can get into that they can abuse to get some sort of altered state of mind or some sort of high, then they will use it. So it wouldn't even hurt if you just have over-the-counter medicines in your house to even purchase a lockbox. The prescription medications during COVID-19. So opioid prescription abuse is one of the highest known abuse substances while at home. Since some doctors' offices have rescheduled non-essential appointments, this could put some stress on individuals who need to refill an opioid prescription. So what can you do with your unwanted medications? So you might have some medications in your medicine cabinet that are unused, unwanted, or expired. We at Partnership Carson City host the biannual prescription drug roundup, which is actually a nationwide initiative to help get rid of any unused, unwanted prescription pain pills or needles. Obviously, this last April's prescription drug roundup was canceled, but we will be having one in October as well. So, but holding on to these medications makes the access to them a lot easier to others who don't need them. So I know that we see a lot of people every April and October that have been hoarding these medications and hoarding all of these needles because they're either diabetic or for their animals. But holding on to them just makes them a lot easier for anyone in your household who doesn't need them, being able to get a hold of them. So I'm going to talk about how you can get rid of your medications during this time in a couple different ways. So what you don't want to do with these prescription medications is you do not want to flush them down the toilet. This can cause potential for those medications to get into our water system. And the thing about flushing them down the water system is sometimes all of the medications are not pulled out of the water system when it's filtrated. So there's never a 100% guarantee that it will be filtrated out of our water system. Do not hold on to them. Again, this can cause for potential misuse by yourself or others in your household. And do not throw them away in the garbage. People can easily find them in the garbage. If you have animals, they can get in the garbage as well. So those are some things you do not want to do. So I'm going to show you a couple YouTube videos. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. Sorry, my computer Wi-Fi is slow. And please let me know if you cannot hear this video when I pull it up. Give me a thumbs up.
All medications and needles should be disposed of properly.
Awesome.
Medications should never be flushed as they will taint the water supply. Needles and other sharp medical waste are hazardous to garbage pickup and landfill workers. What should you do with expired or unused medications? Drop them off at Carson City Sheriff's Office, 911 East Musser Street, or you can bring them to Partnership Carson City's Drug Roundups. Liquid medications can be mixed with cat litter, placed into sealed containers, and then thrown into the trash. Pills may be dissolved in water and disposed of in the same way. What should you do with your needles? Collect them in hard-sided containers, such as laundry detergent bottles or coffee cans, then place them into the trash. Make sure that you duct tape the lids closed. Consult with your pharmacy to see if needles can be returned, or ask your pharmacist if needles or old medications can be returned to the drug company. Call Partnership Carson City at 775-841-4730 for more information.
Awesome. Oh, let's see, we have something in the chat. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So yeah, that would be one way that you can dispose of any medications on your own at home. And then I'm going to show you another way. Let's see. Okay, back on the slides. So Deterra. So what is Deterra? Deterra is the only scientifically proven drug deactivation system on the market that permanently deactivates the drug, rendering it unavailable for abuse or diversion. So the video that we just saw, if you were to mix the medications with water, or in the case where it was a liquid where you would mix it with the kitty litter, that would be a good way to do it if you do not have access to Deterra. And I will talk about in a little bit how you can actually get Deterra for free. But if you just have that stuff laying around the house, it's great. But any active addict or user can find a way to siphon the drug back out of the kitty litter. So if that is a way, if that's the only thing that you have in your household, great. Usually kids do not know how to siphon the drugs back out of it. I know I sure don't. But any addict, if they were to go through garbage or anything like that, they can definitely do that. The other thing I will say about that is the needles, how they were put in the coffee tins and duct tape shut and throw away. That is actually how the waste management tells us to let people know that it's safe to throw them away. So that is actually okay to do on your own at home. So if you have anyone who's diabetic, maybe even anyone who's an addict, if they're any sort of sharps or anything like that, put them in a hard-sided container, whether it's a coffee tin, laundry detergent bottle, milk jug, anything like that that can't easily be punctured. Go ahead and just duct tape it so there's no way it can be opened, and you can just throw it in the normal trash. That is completely okay. So Deterra is not only safe, but it's convenient, and it creates a permanent solution to closing the loop on the pharmaceutical life cycle. So where can you get it? So Deterrable is available through Partnership Carson City. We're located on the north end of Carson on Winnie Lane. Unfortunately, right now we're not in our offices and we're not available to be here, but I will also talk about how we can still get you Deterra. Local hospices medical groups. So we distribute to Carson Tahoe, Carson Medical Group, Behavioral Health, Health and Human Services. So if you go to any of the local doctors here, they will absolutely have Deterra if you ask for it. The sheriff's office has some right at the front desk. You can just walk right in and grab some. And then they'll soon be around the community more. So funeral homes have them because a lot of times when people pass away, their family members don't know what to do with their unwanted medications. Senior centers have them, so they're slowly being distributed all around the community. At this time, we actually have permission to mail out Deterra. So I have my information at the very end if you want to write it down so that you can either email me, call me, text me if you want any Deterra, and we can definitely get them shipped out to you. They're super little, so this is what they look like. It's just filled with these little pods, which I'll get into on how they actually work. But they're super easy to just be shipped out too. So we have plenty of these. So what's the big deal with it? Deterra has been, again, the only scientifically proven way to best dispose of prescription medications. Deterra not only protects the environment and the wildlife that thrives off of it, but it reduces the chances of an addict being able to reduce the drug again. Deterra has only been on the market for the last 5-ish years, if that. I know it's been a very, very, very new thing. I want to say it's even been closer to only 3 years. So before that, that's what we were using was the kitty litter trick and all of that. So Deterra is a very, very new thing that is super easy to dispose of your medications. So how do you use it? So what you would do is you would open up the patch up at the top. It's like a Ziploc bag. You don't want to remove any of the deactivation pods in there. You just want to keep them in there. You'll place the medications. So you can place anywhere from pills to patches to liquids. Whatever you have in there that you want to dispose of, you just open it, toss the substances in there. You would fill the pouch halfway with some warm water, and then you want to wait for about 30 seconds because it'll start to kind of expand, and then it'll release some air. It'll kind of foam up if you look at it too. They're like charcoal pods, so they'll start to foam up, get all airy. That's okay. And then what you want to do is you want to seal the pouch shut. You want to gently shake it, and then you can just safely dispose of it in the normal garbage. So it's a very easy, simple way to get rid of it that takes less than 2 minutes. So what can you put in Deterra? So the cool thing about Deterra is you can put almost anything in Deterra that you want to get rid of. The only thing, there is only one substance that you cannot get rid of, and that would be the leaf marijuana. So if it's anything like that typical leaf marijuana that we associate with marijuana usage, you cannot dispose of it. But any sort of oils, liquids, tinctures, anything like that, you can get rid of. So it can be over the counter or it can be prescription medications. It can also be illicit drugs. So whether it's meth or heroin or cocaine, it can get rid of all of those substances as well. So like I said earlier, prescription pain pills, cough medicines, and patches can be disposed of. Over-the-counter medications such as NyQuil, Robitussin, or Benadryl can even be disposed of. So if you just want to get those out of your house in general as well, you can use Deterra for that. Each of these little bags, you can dispose of 45 pills, 6 ounces of liquid, or 6 patches. And we have a couple hundred of these. So if you want to reach out and request that you have any of them, we have plenty to give away. This is just a quick link from Deterra's website showing how to use it. Okay, let me share my screen here.
and abusers can find them. When they're not being abused, pharmaceuticals can cause serious issues to our environment if not properly disposed. We have a problem with unwanted pharmaceuticals in this country, and Deterra has the solution. Using our patented Deterra system, everyone can safely deactivate prescription drugs anywhere in the world. It's a convenient, cost-effective way to help prevent abuse and contamination. Simply place unused medication in the environmentally friendly pouch. Fill halfway with warm tap water. Wait 30 seconds. Seal tightly and gently shake. Then put in the trash receptacle. Using Nat12 molecular absorption technology, proprietary activated carbon bonds to pharmaceutical compounds, rendering drugs ineffective and safe for disposal. It's that easy. Everyone has a role to play to solve this problem. Do your part today and get Deterra from Verde.
Awesome. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to kind of move into supporting healthy habits. And I'll give you a couple different ways on how to stay healthy, how to stay active and engaged during this time. So earlier we're talking about, again, anyone can tend to feel stressed and anxious during this time. It's very common. There's a lot of unknowns. It's a day-by-day basis, but that's okay because there's nothing we can do about it, and that's okay. But there's things that we can do to stay engaged, to stay healthy, to stay active, and that's what's really in our control right now. So we want to support healthy habits in not only yourself, but your family members daily, especially if you're quarantined with children or family members, even if you're just quarantined by yourself. I'll give you a couple different ways on how to stay active. So when you're feeling stressed, try to engage in activities that are known to reduce stress and anxiety. And I'm going to go into a couple ones that are proven to lower stress, lower anxiety, and get that dopamine flowing in our brains again. So the weather is beautiful with summer approaching. It's been great. So you can take a walk, go on a bike ride if you have a bike, go for a jog or go for a run. I personally don't like to run, so I go on hikes. You can go out and you can go sunbathing. You can play a game of catch. If you have any frisbees, basketballs, sidewalk chalk art, especially with younger kids, that could be really fun. There's a lot of different recipes. Also, if you look it up on YouTube to make like chalk paint and different chalk art stuff, so you can just look up ideas for that. Vitamin D and sun exposure is known to do wonders for your mental health. So even just getting outside for, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, and it's just sitting outside, just feeling that sun on you, getting some vitamin D in your skin and in your body is just going to do wonders for that. Find some new hobbies, or if you have any old hobbies, try to engage back into those. During this time, there's many hobbies that we can figure out that we like or that we used to like, and we just don't have time for it. And now that everything has slowed down, at least now we have time to re-engage in those things that we liked to do before that we just couldn't really make time for in the day. Try something you've never tried before, such as painting, sewing, knitting. You can build something. You can start a garden, or you can even work on your backyard or front yard. You don't have to go to Home Depot and you don't have to buy all this equipment to do anything to your yard, but maybe just raking it or planting some new flowers in your yard might just do something. Clean out a closet or clean out your car. I know for me personally, a lot of the things I struggle with is I don't make time for those simple things that we should. So now that we have time, you can go through all of your stuff, see what you can get rid of and donate once places open back up. Do that deep spring cleaning that everyone talks about, but not many people have time to really initiate. And just remember to stay healthy. So you want to stay active. And like I said, whether that's 5 minutes a day of just going outside, taking an afternoon walk, whatever it is to help you stay active, do something each day. If you don't feel like going outside, that's fine. There's plenty of online workouts through YouTube, through Pinterest, online in general. You can check out workouts through YouTube, through Orange Theory Fitness. They have everything from cardio to interval training to weightlifting, and they make it super easy. So if you don't have any equipment at home, you can use milk jugs, or you can use anything you have lying around the house. Partnership Carson City also does weekly yoga nights. So every Monday night at 5:15 on Zoom, we have live yoga happening with a licensed yoga instructor, and she is wonderful. If you don't have that time to do yoga with us, Mondays at 5, we record every session and we upload them to our YouTube account. So you can always check back on our YouTube account. They're there for you whenever it is easily for you to initiate yoga. Try some new recipes. Pinterest is flooded with tons of recipes. So if you have picky eaters, if you're allergic to stuff, if you want recipes that are good for young kids, they have just about anything. And then encourage family exercise sessions, whether that's, doing a yoga night all together as a family, just going on a walk all together for 5 minutes. Have a family dinner. Finally get to sit down together, talk about your day. Maybe plan to do an activity the next day. Just something where you're all together, where you can have a conversation and talk. And plan to get outside at least once. So right here is my information. That is my email address, and then also my cell phone number. Since I'm not able to be in the office, I don't get to check my work voicemail very often, but I'm always have my phone on me, so I'm answering text messages and calls if there are any questions regarding anything. And like I said, the most important takeaways of today are just, promote healthy habits, not only for your own health, not only for your own sanity, but for the people around you as well, too. Whether you have young children or not in your home, there's other people if you are living with them. And, a lot of the times our human interactions, we bounce off each other's energy and everything. So if we're just all trying to do the best that we can, it's going to make coming out of quarantine a lot better. And I have access to safe disposal, so I know that if you guys ever want Deterra or anything like that, just let me know. We can definitely get them out to you. Awesome. Thank you, Patty. Are there any questions? Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, that is all I have for today. Next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about naloxone and the drug reversal system for an opioid overdose. So that's going to play into well of why it's important to use safe disposal techniques to get those drugs out of your house. And then we'll have a couple other more sessions all the way out through the end of May as well. So thank you both for being here. Bye. See you next week.